things that I have prayed and just would give anything to see in 5 years, I've seen it now in 4 weeks. By day 2 of life, Luke started to go into a coma. The first 6 months of Luke's life were very traumatic, to say the least. He was in the hospital every week. We would get out for a couple days and be back. His pneumonia was just never really managed. For 6 months, he stayed at a brain damaging level. Every time I would see a doctor, they just pick one diagnosis to fixate on. So Luke has been given a diagnosis of CPS1, he's had a liver transplant, metabolic stroke, cerebral palsy from the stroke, and we also got an autism diagnosis. There were many nights that I would stay up crying, thinking, what can I do for him? Because I feel like everything I'm doing here is not working. Dr. Crawford takes us back, and he was looking over Luke, talking to him. He didn't treat Luke like any of his diagnosis, not one of them. He was looking at Luke to treat Luke what works best for him. This is a place of miracles. So before, I could never get Luke to dress himself. And the other morning I had his clothes laid out for him, and I was in the bathroom getting ready, and I walked back into the bedroom and he had already gotten himself dressed. He was completely nonverbal from the stroke, so never said a word, but he has started to talk. I was like, you get to go to clinic today and see all your friends. And I was like, are you ready to go now? And he said, yeah. And now he's trying, every night he's trying to sound out words. He actually sits at night and in bed and wants me to read to him. He's never done that before. He was not ever using utensils. And I've made videos of him since being here of eating his first cup of ice cream, literally from Chick-fil-A, because he can do it now. I just have so much hope for Luke's future, and just seeing the things that he's done in 4 weeks. I can't imagine what it's going to look like for him when we get home and we're doing home care. Who knows, maybe a year from now I will be sending y'all T-ball pictures and whatever he wants to do.
You're doing awesome, dude.
This place is restoring health, restoring hope to families, and truly changing lives, not only of the patients, but of the families as well.
I am known in the social media world as Advocacy Abby. If you don't follow me on Instagram, I encourage you to, not because I like people follow me, but because I give out good information to families that have disability and diagnosis. And so what you're gonna learn today, I started teaching a while back and it has evolved a little, so you're gonna get some things that aren't on here, you're gonna get today, so I'm super excited to share that. But my goal is for you to feel encouraged, equipped, and empowered, and to know how to find financial support for your family. And I know when we talk about finances, it can feel very overwhelming, but once you break down these tools, it should be empowering, and then you know, okay, I don't have to say, well, there's no way I could do that because it's this amount of money. I want money to never be an issue for a child's recovery or rehabilitation or what you need, okay? So to give you a little bit of backstory, I am the mother of 5 children. And they're all very close in age. My oldest just went to college and my youngest is 11. And when I was very pregnant with my 5th child, my son Wyatt, who at the time was 18 months, had a near drowning. He was actually quite miraculous. They had called and said, he's gone, he's no longer with us. And we came into the room, began to pray, beg God, and he came back to life. And so if you're ever curious about the story, there's more out there on it. But it is one of those things that when you're jumping into this world, you have no idea what to expect, right? Because I was expecting to have lost my son, and now here he is, God's provided, he's here with us, now what? And what I quickly found out was insurance was gonna tell me no on a lot of things. And I wasn't okay with that. My husband and I decided very early on that if it was going to not hurt him and could potentially help him, that we were going to try. Because what I learned quickly is that practicing medicine is about 10 years behind actual science. And my kid didn't have 10 years to wait for that to get all the way through the proper channels and all the things, or just to be told, no, it's not a big enough moneymaker, we're not going to put this through the system. And so we said money wasn't going to be something that stopped us. However, we had none because my husband was a church plant pastor. And if you know anything about ministry, church plant might be like the brokest position you could take in ministry. It's like, hey, do you want to make money? No, be a pastor. If you really don't want to make money, be a church plant pastor. And so I was a stay-at-home mom. We had 5 kids, a newborn, a child with a brand new brain injury diagnosis. And I started hearing about these things. So this is about 12 years ago. So a lot of this was new. There was a couple moms poking around at functional neurologists and stem cell doctors, and we were hearing things, and we were like, hey, we want to go to your treatment. They're like, great, come. And then we'd see the price tag, and insurance would say no. And so what we decided to do was look for things like grants and foundations and crowdsource effectively, and I became an expert in it. All you need to know is when a mom sees there's a goal and my kid could get something and it's going to help them, just get out of the way, right? Because we're going to get to that no matter what. And so I became an expert in going on the internet, finding these grants, and I began to accumulate all these resources, began to meet with parents just like you guys, because they would find me on social media or they'd hear from a friend of a friend that your kid went and did this, how did they do that? And started telling parents how to do it, and they started seeing the same kind of results. They were able to do these treatments or therapies or get, the wheelchair accessible van or the things that they needed. And so I really found resources to do all these things through 3 different methods. Now the first 2 methods, insurance and state waivers, I am not an expert in. But I'm going to point you to a couple resources real quick. So this is not my expertise, this is just bonus. If you have pen, paper, or something to take notes on, grab a couple of these websites because you're not gonna wanna walk away. And for some of you, it'll be redundant, you know this information, but I don't want anybody to not have this information. So I always, when I meet with families, and I meet with families every single day, I meet with hundreds of families a month, I meet with thousands in a year, and you'll get to see the fullness of what God has done over the last 12 years and now how I'm able to help all of you. I always tell my families, always try insurance first. Okay, so some things there's just not a way. There's no code, like there's no way to, they don't take insurance. But if you can get a denial, 1, always try to appeal. If they deny you, always appeal, because you're setting a precedent for yourself, right? And sometimes there are exceptions. A lot of people don't know about these exceptions because nobody tells you. Nobody tells you there's money out there. Nobody tells you, oh, by the way, your insurance can provide this. And so just to give you a few examples, this is a Florida public health care. So this is like Medicaid waiver, Florida kid. I'm from Florida, but every state has something like this, okay? People have no idea that there's so many things covered that they don't mention. They don't know that you can get your blood pressure covered. You can get your vacuums covered. You can get your pest control covered. Okay, there's different things that your kids' insurance can cover for you. So I'm a big advocate when you see a big price on something. Let's say you want to go to stem cell therapy. Let's say you get a price, I'm just going to say $10,000 to just make it simple. You're like, I really want to do this for my kid, but it's $10,000. I'm making $50,000 a year. How am I going to do this, right? I say you eat an elephant 1 bite at a time. So you figure out where you can cut costs. And one of those things in Florida, I don't know about Texas, but Florida, we got bugs. Like, it's not you're dirty, everybody has them. And so you have to have pest control, like it's mandatory. And so we were paying about $100 a month for pest control. Well, my son's insurance covers that. I had no concept of that. I didn't know to even ask. And so there's sections in your policy, both private and public, that have what they call special benefits, expanded benefits, or special plan features. Now this can cover everything from swim lessons, mental health counseling for you or your spouse, different food programs. They have over-the-counter programs where you don't have to pay out of pocket for things that insurance says no to. So like for my son's insurance, he has pull-ups we have to use, but they don't cover wipes. Well, that the plan actually does. There's this little subsection that if you don't know about, you don't apply for and you never get. Okay, so these are things that you need to go into your insurance plan, go to the expanded benefit or special features. They have different names for them, and I'll show you a few more of the names. So this is a few different public things. When I say public, I mean like Medicaid or a state waiver that are provided. Swim lessons. My son had a near drowning. You better believe my youngest son was doing infant swim rescue. He was learning how to flip and float at 3 months, right? So those are things that you can get covered if you know how to access them. This is a private insurance. This is Blue Cross Blue Shield. Read the part where it says medical case management. How many people have been told by their private insurance, you get 50 visits a year or 60 visits a year and that's it, right? But your kid needs more. There are exceptions to all these things, but your caseworker or your insurance agent is never going to tell you, oh, by the way, you can appeal, or not appeal, but you can ask for a special meeting, and then your doctors and a couple of ours are going to sit around and we're going to make exceptions. So your kid might need 120 visits a year, and now all of a sudden they're covering it. People don't know this. I've seen somebody get, who knows what a Trexo robotic walking legs? Okay. I've seen Blue Cross Blue Shield pay for their Trexo when it was available in the US. It's going to be available again, so just follow me if you want to know when. That's $40,000, a device that walks for your child when they can't walk, okay? They got it because they knew about these things. Nobody tells you about them, so once again, this is not my expertise, but I just want to give you some feedback. Before you do your claim, make sure you include keywords, ask your DMI company. Here's a tip that a lot of people don't talk about. Ask your company, who's got this approved and how did they do it, okay? Ask your PTs, your OTs, who got it through a grant, who got it through a waiver. Tell me how they did it. Because they might not think, oh, I know how to do it, but they can say, oh, well, Sarah did it. And then you can talk, could you introduce me to Sarah? Can I find out how she did it? Did you write a letter of medical necessity? What did it say? Those are things that will help you push the envelope so that your insurance will do as much as possible, okay? Because you don't want to set the precedent that they deny you and you go away. You want to set the precedent like, oh gosh, here goes Mark again. Mark came back, he wrote a letter. Like, I know he's not going to quit till we give it. Let's go ahead and look at this. All right, let's approve it, okay? Also, these are just a couple organizations. You can ignore the Florida one unless you're from there, but that do pro bono law work. I had a pro bono attorney get my son his $40,000 wheelchair because insurance denied it, and I knew it was not right. But how do you fight when they're the ones that get to decide? You fight with an attorney, all right? And this didn't cost me anything, and within 24 hours, my son got a call from the head of the entire insurance company, not my son. His PT got a call and saying we're proving everything. But it's because I knew that something was wrong, but I didn't know law-wise what it was. Well, they do, okay? They know the rules. They know how to make stuff happen. Okay, so just couple of takeaways from insurance. I do have something on my website. If you go to advocacyabby.com, there's a free 7 areas you can ask about. Another thing you can ask is when you call your insurance company, you can say, hey, by the way, what's stuff I would never know you cover? And then they'll go, oh, I don't, because you're usually calling and saying, do you do this, do you do that? But if you go, well, I can guarantee you they'll be like, I bet you didn't know we cover your pest control, right? These are little things that can help. Okay. Another site, I just want to draw your attention to this. This is called kidswaivers.org. Anybody know of this site? Okay. It is amazing. This is not my site. It's just a great site. They update every fall new waivers for each state. Okay, this is huge. Nobody announces when there's a new waiver. Florida in 2024 had a brand new waiver come out for degenerative disease. That means mom and dad can make as much money as they want, but kiddo can be waived based on their income and not mom and dad's, so that mom and dad aren't restricted. Because who's ever felt like I can't make too much money, right? That's a bad feeling. Or I make too much money, so my kid's having to sacrifice. It's sucky either way. But when you have a waiver, it waives all of that. Your kid gets exactly what they need, and you can do as much as you want in life. And so they update it every single fall. I would highly recommend. They also have pro bono attorneys for every single state in there, so another good reason to follow. And they help with the paid caregiver services. If you're like, how do I do this? They walk you all through it. So kidswaivers.org. Okay. Now this is my expertise, fundraising and grants. So grants are like a marathon. Grants take a lot of work, they take a lot of time, but they have huge payoff. Big amounts of money, anywhere from a few $100s to tens of thousands sometimes. Fundraising is like a sprint. It's fast and effective, and you know what you're working with pretty quick into the journey. I'm an expert in both, and so I'm going to show you the most effective ways to do both today. Hope you take a lot of notes, and you're going to walk away. By the way, I am doing a hands-on workshop at 4:45. If you walk away and you're like, yep, let's do it. We know what we want. We know what we need. And you want to sit down and be like, what grants? How do I launch my page? What are we doing? You can come to this workshop. Everybody in that workshop, I'm literally going to help you individually get this done. So my hope is that you get it done today and you feel really good about it. Okay, so there's 4 effective ways to fundraise. So first and foremost is crowdsourcing. I'm going to get into that here, and there's more than this, but these are the most impactful that I've experienced. And every single thing you see here I've done personally, and I've helped thousands of families do, okay? So crowdsourcing, we're going to get into more of that shortly. Community sporting events. So this could be everything from a race to we did wall balls for Wyatt. You go to a gym. How many wall balls can you do? It's those big medicine balls. You know, how many times can you go up and throw that up? $1, $10, whatever per wall ball. We've done volleyball tournaments. We've done golf tournaments. These are big money makers. They do take time. All right. So there's not a lot of cost involved, except with the golf tournaments. You have to rent the place. But usually you can get local gyms, workout places to say, we want to do this. There's no cost involved. They just have to get behind the idea. And if anybody wants specifics on how to do that, come to the workshop. I'll like sit down and help you plan one out. We've made flyers, we've showed people how to collect the money. It's a pretty effective way. This can raise anywhere from $20,000 to $40,000. Then you have community sale. I love this one because I love a good garage sale. But this is much bigger than that. So you get a local church, Boys and Girls Club, a community center to say yes to allowing you to have 2 or 3 days to sell things. But this is the beautiful part. You collect for a month or 2. And how you collect is on the weekends. You put out some ads just on Facebook. You tell friends and family. You tell your neighborhoods, hey, we're picking up gently used items. We're picking up furniture you've been wanting to get rid of. Anything you've been wanting to get rid of, we'll take. You get local facilities that have storage to donate for a month. I've never seen a person not be able to find a facility willing to give it for 1 month for free when they know what the reason is. I walk you through all of that in my one-on-one, and I'll share that with you guys here in a minute. You store it. I have a girl doing that right now. Matter of fact, let me just show you, actually, since you guys are you guys are getting to see my actual computer. Let's see if, maybe go like that. Let's see. Marley. So this is a young lady I'm helping do it right now. She's raising money for a gene therapy. She's going to be one of the first in the U.S. to do this, to stop this degenerative diagnosis. We are doing Marley's Shop for Marley. This is her big community sale. She's been collecting for a month. I think it's like in the next week or so, November 5th through the 8th. She got her local church to say yes to Wednesday through Saturday. So everything has to be out on Saturday. And they've been collecting for the last month from all over the place. It's been a really cool experience to watch. But that's what a community sale is. So you basically collect, and then for the 2 to 3 days, you allow people to come shop, just like a yard sale, garage sale. People get excited when there's a lot there. I don't haggle no one. You don't haggle. They want the lamp for $2. You give it to them for $2 because you don't want to take it to the local shelter or Goodwill after. You want to get rid of everything. Yes to everything, except you have your large support page blown up. You have your QR code. You have your why everywhere. The why is your kid, okay, or yourself. The why is the need. And so the need is stem cell therapy, life-saving treatment, functional neurology, neuroscience, whatever it is. You share the why everywhere. So I had a lady that was haggling me for $2 for a lamp. That was a real example. I was really frustrated because I was like, this is a nice lamp, lady. Give me $10. And she was like, absolutely not. And so finally I was like, fine, take the lamp. And then she donated $200 to my son's cause. She just wanted a good deal, right? Let them have their deals. You collected all this stuff to get rid of it, to have people donate. People feel good on both ends. They get a good deal and they're given to a good cause, okay? And the last is auctions. This is a little lighter lift, but you need an army of people. So this is good for if you can get a sports team to get behind it, a local youth group to get behind it, if you just have a lot of family that's willing to do it. And I've done this with the family as well. You auction off baskets. So I'd say get at least 2 baskets. You just go to local restaurants, spa places, golf places, wherever. You say, hey, would you donate towards this cause? They'll give you a gift card. And you collect as much of that as you can. You get 2 baskets, say option 1, option 2. It's all been donated, so there's no financial burden on you. And then you let people buy tickets. $5 a ticket, 5 tickets for $20. Everybody likes a good raffle. They want a chance of winning something big, right? And they know even if I don't win, I gave to my friend's kid, right? And so you advertise on social, you get kids in groups of kids or adults or family member to sell the tickets, like take them to work. Hey, I got 50 tickets I need to get rid of today. Anybody want to raffle off? This is for my nephew. This is for my niece, for my sister, my grandkid. People sell the tickets, you collect the money. We've done $30,000 on an auction. The more people you have selling the tickets, the better. What's really nice is if you can get like a sports team behind it and you just say, hey, coach, I need each kid to sell 100 tickets. They just go, their parents do all the work in sports teams, let's be honest, right? Their parents take it to work and be like, hey, I need a couple colleagues to buy some tickets for a good cause. Everybody buys the tickets. They're like, I'll spend $10, I'll spend $5. Like, it's not a big deal. This is very fast on the collection, and then you raffle off the 2 baskets and you're done. Like I said, $30,000. Now crowdsourcing. So I already talked to you guys a little bit about crowdsourcing. It is the most effective and fastest way to raise support. However, I know what it's like to put a GoFundMe out there and feel really crappy about it. It doesn't feel good to be like, I need you to fund me, right? It doesn't feel good. We're capable people. We know how to do things. We're just in a difficult situation. And just to ease your minds a little bit, and I hope this isn't a burden, but an encouragement to you. To raise a child that's healthy from birth to 18 years old usually costs about $240,000. And I can tell you what, that kid did not play club sports, okay? Because I'm pretty sure I spent that in 4 years with my daughter. But that's about the average cost, okay? To raise a child with a diagnosis or disability, and this is averages, okay? $1.4 to $2.4 million. It is not an even playing field. We're not on the same playing field. So finding grants and finding support is really imperative, but how you do it matters. I don't know many people that do this, but if you've posted GoFundMe over and over, you've probably dried up your resources, right? You're like, I did it, it didn't work. It's probably for a couple reasons. One, GoFundMe never feels good. You're literally saying, fund me, give me money, right? Also, you probably didn't know how to effectively get it out there, because there's a thing called algorithm on social media that really makes a big difference. And so when I started Advocacy Abby on Instagram, I just randomly started sharing grants with families and people started following. I met this company called Support Now, and that's who is one of the sponsors of the event and why I'm here today. When I met them, we came together because they saw what I was doing and they were raising support through a platform, and they had this amazing platform, but they wanted results to be met. So they wanted to see people, like, let's say you have a $10,000 goal and your community came through and they raised $5,000 for you, which is awesome, but you're still short of your goal. They're like, hey, could you help us bridge this gap for these families? We want to bridge the gap. So that's what I did. We came together and we created the largest database in the world of grants, which you're going to see how to navigate a little bit better if you've already experienced it. If you haven't, you're going to find out today. The reason I said yes to Support Now was the way they made the platform. So number one, it was all inclusive. So when my son was in the hospital, we were in the PICU for 52 days. He had a meal train, there was like a sign up genius, there was a Facebook page, there was GoFundMe's floating around. I didn't know who had any of them. People were posting things every which way. I didn't know where to communicate. When I took it over, all the other stuff fell off because I had to focus on one thing, which was my Facebook page. That's what I decided to focus on. And so They created a platform that's customizable by your needs. So let's say you raise $10,000 to go to your stem cell treatment, and you have 3 kids at home. Dad's still got to work, or somebody still has to get to ball practice, and now you got one parent trying to do everything, or you are one parent and you have to go with this kid, and what's going to happen at home, and you have all these things to balance. They created a platform where you can put lend a hand, and you can say, here are the needs, and your community can say, I got it. I'll raise a hand to that. You can put prayer needs. You can put anything you can think of can be put on there. Walk the dog. My dog died shortly after my son's accident, and he was old, but he was also not being walked every day because we were in the hospital. My kid came first, right? And so having somebody be able to walk the dog, take out the trash. I'm at the hospital, take out the trash. These little things might sound small, but you all know how much it means, right? Somebody show up, fold laundry with me, and have coffee. That's it. I just need somebody to sit with me because I can't go out. It's hard. These are things that change. Meal Train takes 7.9%. Did y'all know this? When somebody gives you $50, they're like, here's a gift card, use a Meal Train, they take a big chunk. We don't do that. So you can do meals on here. You can customize it where people can drop off meals, or you could just leave gift cards on. And so just to kind of show you, it's very customizable. There's all kinds of things you can do. But the biggest thing is the only platform that allows families to keep up to 100% of the donation. And how they do this is they put the onus on the donor. The donor gets to choose if they want to round up. Over 93% of people choose to round up. So there's no other platform like this. Even organizations that are nonprofit, or they say we only do medical needs or whatever, they still have to pay Stripe. Stripe is the largest credit card processing company in the world. They do GoFundMe, they do ours, they do everybody's. They pretty much have a monopoly on the area, but they charge a fee, and that fee has to be paid. So what we've done is say to the donor, if you'd like your person to keep 100% of this, use this, you can ensure that. You check this little box, they opt into it, it's all transparent. GoFundMe takes 2.9% at the beginning, plus 30 cents in the beginning on every transaction. Plus they have a preset tip, usually around 17.5% in the end. They take at the front and at the end. So a lot of people lose up to 18% of their donations. And people think, oh, you made your goal, it's $40,000, you raised your goal, but you're actually getting a lesser amount distributed to your bank. So this is important stuff for you to know, especially when you're on this long-term journey. Okay, so there is this. So the processing fee is only if they do not round up, just so you know. If they choose not to round up, which only 93%, so only 7% choose not to round up, then the 2.7, and that's 100% to Stripe. Nothing goes to support now. Okay, so here's the successful way to fundraise. So first, you choose the right platform. I always recommend Support Now. I haven't found anything better than that out there. 2, you gather your team. So a lot of people go, okay, I'm going to do this, or your sister says, I'm going to do this for you, and they just push it. I hope people give. That's not effective. What's effective is masses of people sharing at the same time. It does a couple things. When people start sharing on social and the same links going out from a lot of different people, the algorithm notices that. And it starts pushing it up, and then all your community starts to see the same thing quickly, because the goal is quick, right? When you have a fundraiser and you share it, and then a week later your sister shares it, it's going to just fall. It's going to flop. So what we do is this. I'm the Director of Family Advocacy for Support Now. So full time, what I get to do is meet with you one-on-one. We get on a Zoom, or you come to the workshop, you actually get to see me in person, and I say, what's your kid's diagnosis? How many people are in your house? What's your income? Okay, we got that information. Now I know what grants you can apply for. And if it's a larger need, depending on what it is, if crowdsourcing is appropriate, then I'm going to help you plant your page. I'm going to help you build it. I'm going to help you explain your why. Let me pull up an example right now. I love that I can just show you guys this. Believe. Okay, so this is a family. They heard about me. Somebody told them. She follows Light for Levi. Anybody follow Light for Levi? Okay, so Megan's a friend of mine. She had me on her Facebook group. This mom heard that, and so she met with me, and we did a customized page for her. And so I'm very big on being transparent. People don't know. Did you guys even know the 1.4 to 2.4 million stat? Right? You don't even know that, and you're just dealing with it. You're just doing it because you got it. You have to. People don't know. So when you explain, hey, my kid needs this, and it's going to cost us $12,000 to $13,000, or my kid goes to chiropractor, it's $175 every single time, or it's $150 for this treatment for a 45-minute treatment, and I'm doing that 4 times a week for a month, and that's this amount. When you do these things, people are like, wow, I had no idea. I can donate. I can give a little, and you eat the elephant one bite at a time. And so what I do is I help you choose your pictures, different things like that, and then we go into creating a customized description. And then as you get down to the bottom, you can see I encourage the families to do updates. There's a very specific method with this. A lot of people they'll start a page or they'll start a GoFundMe, and then that's it. They're kind of like hoping it works out. Maybe they do an update or 2. Updates are crucial. So the reason I have my families, I say do an update every other day for the first 2 weeks, and then you can kind of taper down a little bit. But as long as you're still receiving, you should be doing updates. And some people, they actually hit their goal really fast, and then they just use it as a blog because it's free. So like I said, you can turn everything off and on. So let's say this family wanted to turn this off. They wanted to go to DMI therapy in North Carolina to see Dana. All kids are perfect. And so we reached their goal in 22 hours. Okay? So it was really, really quick. So she posted about it. And then guess what? When she went, she told everybody day by day. So she went to the therapy starting August 25th. And every single day, we just did an edit. Let me fix that. Sorry. Every single day, she would do an update about what was happening. So your part as the recipient or the beneficiary is to allow your community to be a part of your journey. That's what you're doing. People are curious, right? It allows them to come around you and be like, I'm going to be a part of that. So when they see your little kid in the new piece of equipment, they feel a little better. They're like, hey, I just helped. I put my money in that. Like, I helped build that. I helped give them that access. Or they get to follow up and they'll give you words of encouragement. They'll say things like, wow, I'm so excited for him, or whatever they want to say to encourage you, they'll keep, and they get to be a part of it. So with support now, how we structure it is we aren't asking for money. We're allowing your community to be a part of the journey. Share the costs because they have no concept of it, and encourage them to follow along on the journey. You never once will say, will you please donate? Ever. I've never had one client say, will you please donate? This is exactly what they get to say because they worked with an advocate, which is me. They get to say, hey, this one just reached the goal yesterday. I'm like so proud of this. 3 weeks, a wheelchair accessible van. This is what they get to text their family and friends. So they start with a text, then they move on to their post, and then they start doing their updates. That's the sprint. It's fast, all right? Then we turn our full attention to the grants, which I'm about to show you. So when we start with the sprint, you text your friends and family, say, hey, I met with an advocate today about Rowan and his accessibility needs. She encouraged us to create a Support Now page so that I could allow all our friends and family to be a part of his journey. I wanted to see if you'd be on hashtag Team Rowan. All that means is that you'd be willing to share this link on social so others might follow and support his journey. Zero pressure. I'm going to be posting updates here. Would you want to be on his team though? Almost 100% of people are going to say yes, of course, because all you're asking is like, will you share this? Or yeah, sure, it's a no-brainer. You never have to ask for money because there's a donate button. It does it for you. People will read the description, they'll see the opportunity, whether it's just money or if you have, I'm trying to think of a kiddo that uses the full thing. If you have a kiddo that has the meals on, or if you have the lend a hand option, they're going to see the opportunity to do different things, okay? They'll make the choice on what serves them the best. But asking directly, will you be willing to be on our team, is because if you send it out to a group text, they're just going to say, somebody else is going to respond, right? When you send group text, does anybody here like a group text? Nobody likes a group text. So when you ask individually, they feel included. They feel like they're a part of your team, like they're intimate to you. They're closer people. This is not mass texting. This is just like a few people. We try to get 10 yeses is what I encourage people. So your cousin, your sister, your best friend, Yeah, of course. And they share, and it starts to go gangbusters. So this is on the Support Now side. Now, we also have the Connect database. So does anybody not have this database? Okay, so you're going to go to grants, with an S, grants.supportnow.org. Grants.supportnow.org. You're going to create a free account, and when you do this, this is what it's going to look like. So when you create your free account, it's going to ask you a few questions, and the whole point is to give you a curated experience for what you need. But a lot of people do not use this right. They either they don't put in all the diagnosis, which, by the way, there might not be like impairments that you need, but there are, because impairment it's less specific to a diagnosis, so we don't like to limit, but we do describe it in the view section. I'll show you that. But once you have this in there, now, by the way, which, let me pause, let me go back. By the way, when you're doing this, once you have your account created, we also have an age sort button, which is really important because there's grants that are for older people and younger people, and kids grow too, and your age is going to change. It's going to eliminate the things you don't qualify for. So make sure you go, if you've had this for a long time, you just have to go, and you know what, guys, I'm actually going to get out of here. I'm going to navigate it in real life. Sound good? Okay, so when you're in here, when you go into your account, if you click edit now, you'll be able to add the age. This is very important. Click save, and then now you can see I'm looking at a kiddo in Arizona that has cerebral palsy, epilepsy, was in the NICU, and HIE, and then I have all these different grants. I can sort them by what I'm looking for. I can sort them by equipment, AAC devices, wheelchairs, financial support, modifications, pharmaceutical support, respite, service animals, services, therapies, treatments, and transportation. When you come in here, the number one thing I want you to do that most people do not do, and it's a discount to them, they really should do this, is you need to curate your database. So this lightning bolt over here means it's pending review. It means you have not reviewed it, or if you did, you didn't categorize it. So everything defaults to pending review. This is how it opens every single time you come into here. But my goal is when you click view, you quickly see what is needed, or if you qualify or are disqualified. So a couple things that we try to put out right away is there a financial verification? Like, do I have to provide 1040s or W-2s? If you make over, I mean, there are grants for all, but let's say you make $150,000 collectively, like two people home, you got $150,000 coming in. You're gonna be discouraged sometimes because there'll be caps, right? We tell you if there's a cap. Now, just because if it says financial verification, it says required, go down and see, is there a cap? Is there something she's saying is a limitation? If it's not, it just means it's a consideration. Do not apply. So apply still, even if it's a consideration, because I have had foundations call me and say, hey, Abby, we have $10,000 and nobody applied this month. Do you know someone? Okay, but if you applied, let's say you have 10 applicants, you make $200,000, there's somebody that makes $60,000, well, the $60,000 will probably get it, right? That's fair, but not every month they have those people applying. So if it's just a requirement but not a cap, still apply. If it's a cap, we're gonna put it in here, okay? Also, it'll tell you, do you need a social worker to verify this? Do you need a letter of medical necessity? If you don't know what that is, it's for anytime there's equipment, therapy, or treatment, they're gonna ask you for an LMN every time. So you can get that from your doctor or your PT. If it's for equipment or therapy, just go to your PT. It'll be way faster than getting it from the doctor. The doctors usually don't know what to write. The PTs do this all the time. Okay, they do it for insurance. They do it every time they apply. We try to put any kind of impairments that have to be listed. So sometimes it'll say no impairment notice, but sometimes it'll say you must be neurologically impaired. You must have a physical impairment. You must be nonverbal. It might say some of those things. It'll tell you what do they give you? Well, this is for a service dog. So if you're like, okay, I love this, you click the website, it takes you right there. You don't have to dig on websites, okay? It'll take you right to their website, or you can simply click apply and it takes you right to their application. So no digging around, no trying to figure it out, it'll take you right there. So so step one is create your account. Step two is curate your database. So if you go in here and you're like, yeah, I love that one. Let's just pretend it was this one because I don't know which one I was on. So I'm like, yeah, I love that. this is something I might need or I definitely need right now. Might or definitely, I'm going to favorite it. Then it's going to go in my favorites. If I read this and I go, okay, it's for a prosthetic leg, I will never need this. Okay? Then I'm going to click hide. That way, when I come in and I go, my kid needs that Josie stroller. I saw everybody doing this Josie stroller. I want my kid to be able to go hiking with us or go on a bike ride or off-roading, and it's $10,000, and I don't know how I'm going to pay for that. That's a real life story that I just used grants for to get my son. It's called, it's Connect is the name. This is bad branding. Connect's the name, but the website's grants.supportnow.org. Yeah. And I say, I want to get that for my kid. Go to equipment. I go to my favorites. And now, bam, I'm just applying for things that I know work for me because I've already looked at the criteria. So if you'll spend 10 minutes a day, review 10 grants a day, because it's overwhelming. When you come in here, if I clicked view all on everything, if I want to see every single thing I had in here, I have 21 pages. That's a lot, right? But if I sat down at my kids' therapy and I said, I'm going to look at 6 a day, within a month I'm going to be done. Okay, not even that long. I'm going to be done. And now when I come in here, the only thing I'm going to see under pending review will be new grants. And we send out emails. So when you create your account, every time we add a new grant that fits your criteria, you get a message and it'll say, hey, today you've got 3 new grants, but you have no idea what that grant is unless you've reviewed. It'll be in your pending review. So if you've reviewed them all, then it'll be the 3 in here. That way, when you, like I said, when you need something, you need, that intensive physical therapy or you want to do that treatment, you can go to therapies and then you can go to your favorites and you can start applying. Okay, so this is just my example one. There's more than that. So once you have your database created and then curated, and by the way, if you need to curate quickly, just go to the category you're looking in and curate there. Start going down the line there first, and then you'll have your favorites at least for that, because there's 2 pages right now, but once I curate it, there will probably just be a few, right? After you've done that, then what I suggest is you create your toolbox. So this is a file folder you're going to put on your desktop, a digital file folder, and you're going to put this information. This is where grant fatigue becomes real. People go, I need grants, and then you go to the website and it says, I need this, I need this, I need this, and you're like, oh my gosh, but if you get these things right away, when you need something, it's quick, okay? So in this file folder, you're going to collect any letters of medical necessity if it's for a treatment, therapy, or equipment. That will be something you have to do more once you know what you're looking for. You're going to put your 1040s or W-2s. You're going to put a letter from a Word document that's written by you, and it's going to say, this is my kid, just their name, they're adorable, they're a 3-year-old, they're diagnosed with this, explain their diagnosis, and the last sentence, you're going to put, I'm requesting a grant for XYZ because I believe it will help with XYZ. Grant fatigue is a real thing. If you do this, all you have to do is edit that last sentence. Every time you apply for something, you copy and paste. You don't have to rewrite their story. Rewriting your kid's story can be especially if there was an event, it can be very emotional. So if you've written it once, you copy and paste, you put it in there. This is how I'm able to apply for grants the moment they open up. I beat people all the time for grants. I've had over $100,000 in grants for my son, and it's because I know what I'm doing. Okay, so write this in a Word document, throw that in there. You're going to need proof of diagnosis. You can use medical records, but I would just have your doctor write down all of it, including impairments. Cerebral palsy is a spectrum diagnosis, right? There's kids, my cousin walks around, he has a family, you would never know he has cerebral palsy. Then there's my son who's quadriplegic spastic and nonverbal. That's a spectrum, just like autism. There's like a gamut, right? So you want them to put non-ambulatory, quadriplegic spastic, uses, AFOs, has a G-tube.
So you said diagnosis with
impairments.
Impairments, okay.
Yeah. So just have them write it on letterhead, sign off. I have had the same diagnosis letter since my son was 4. And I use it, I said, because his diagnosis hasn't changed. Okay?
It doesn't have to have a date on it.
It does have a date on it. They don't care.
Okay.
I mean, if you have cerebral palsy, you have cerebral palsy. Yeah. Now you might change. His impairments might need to change, but I won't be applying for grants that have those impairments, so it won't be an issue, His or her impairments written down as well. That's just to save you time. You don't have to have the impairments, but if they go, well, are they non-ambulatory, and then you have to go back to the doctor, might as well get it all in one swoop. So you got your letter of medical necessity, proof of diagnosis, proof of income, any quotes. If it's for equipment, therapy, or treatment, you need a quote, okay? That comes from the vendor or the doctor. They pay directly to them. They do not give you the money. So they're gonna give Dr. Profrock or the Napa Center, they're gonna pay them. So you have to have a quote where it has the billing information on it. They're gonna send the check directly to them. This is a great way to get things covered for the therapists that say they don't take insurance. Foundations really help in that area. If they don't take insurance, so some do take insurance, but you just don't get it covered, and some don't take insurance. You need proof. Yeah, you put part of it. Yeah, so you need proof of that. If they don't take it, sometimes on their website you can take a screenshot, but a lot of times you just need a letter from the front office saying we do not accept insurance. Okay. There are some grants that they will request a denial. If you have a denial, save the denial. They'll request a denial, but you cannot give a denial if it's not something you're able to submit for. Okay, so you have to say they don't take it. For example, my son is going to see the New Jersey feeding swallow therapist. You guys know who she is? It's like Aunt Nancy, NJ something is her social. She's costly, like every other therapist that does a really good job, and she travels, and I got it all paid for grants through Oracle Health. Anybody heard of Oracle Health? Great foundation. You have to have a denial. She doesn't take insurance. I got on letterhead from her saying we do not take insurance. They approved it. Okay, so these are little ways to get around those barriers. Once you've created all of those things, you simply come in here, you go to what you're looking for, and then you go to your favorites and you start applying. 1 week after you apply, so you're gonna come in here, you're gonna click view, you click apply. 1 week after you apply, you're gonna send an email. So when you come in here at the very bottom, there's gonna be contact details. You're gonna send an email and you're gonna say this exactly. Hi, my name is so-and-so. I requested a grant for my child. This is their name. A week ago, I wanted to see if you received the application and everything was submitted correctly, and when you'll be making a decision on this. This is super important for you to know what you're dealing with time-wise. So when I had the therapist office calling me saying, when will you know if you've been approved? I was able to tell her. They told me in 4 weeks they'll have a decision. If you don't know, they're gonna say, I'm sorry, we can't hold this for you, or we gotta go forward, or you have to get back on the wait list again, okay? This is important. It also does another thing, and I've had this happen to so many families. They pull your application, first of all, from the bottom. They review it right then, and they will tell you, yeah, your 1040 never came through, or we never got your quote. And you're like, I sent it. It doesn't matter where it dropped, it dropped. They are not gonna tell you if you've been denied. They don't even reach you. That's where you're like, yeah, I've applied for these things before. I never hear back from them. It's because they're volunteers. They usually have kids just like us, and they're just trying to keep their head above the water too. So if you reach out, it gives them the motivation to check on your account and tell you exactly where you are on it. And I checked on one recently. I was trying to get a couple years ago, trying to get a bike for my son, and they're like, yeah, we approve every December. I had no idea. So once a year, and we're like in April. I was like, well, I'm gonna go a different direction then. It lets you know what you're working with. Okay, so that is the grants. After you get approved, feel free to come in here, change it to approved or applied and then received. There are so many foundations that you can reapply to after you've received from, unless they do a once in a lifetime. If it's once in a lifetime, I'd hide it when you're done. But I apply to probably the same 4 or 5 foundations every year for different things for my kid. So you can apply to things again. Here's just a little fun fact. If you are income sensitive, as in you make over the poverty level, and so you find it hard sometimes with like, you make 80,000, they say you can only make 60, and so you're denied by a lot. If they say we do equipment and therapy, stick with therapy. Only do therapies for that one if they don't look at income, because there are less grants that approve therapies without looking at income. There's a lot of grants that approve equipment that do not look at income, okay? So if it says we do both, go with the one with therapies. That's only for therapy, so you don't waste it on equipment, and you could have got that covered 6 different ways, okay? So for larger needs, what I usually recommend, so once you get over the $10,000 amount, I recommend usually we sprint and we run a marathon. We do both. We get our sprint set up, we go after it, and then we start applying for grants, slow and steady. And we do it in that method so you're not overwhelmed and burn out with all this information at once. And I help you curate that plan. When you sit down with me, I'll say, okay, I know you're not going to qualify for this. You're going to walk away with 5 or 6 grants you know you're going to apply for, but let's get your page set up. I help you do it, and we launch it. I even give you like how to text your friends and family. Like I text you as if I was you, and you can copy and paste it. You can use it verbatim. You could change it. Or you could say, I don't want to do any of it. But that's when people meet with me. You can go to, actually, let me go back to when people meet with me, and this is the grant toolbox. If anybody needed to see that, these are things I recommend having in your toolbox. They help you get grants. They're also good for, this slide is also good for when you're applying for waivers. I pretty much had everything ready for my son to get him on the waiver because of my grant file. And then apply with excellence, follow up, and then that's all you can do. When they tell you, yes, you got it, let people know. It does a couple things. Do not have there's 2 mindsets, right? There's the abundance mindset and then there's scarcity mindset. I had to overcome the scarcity mindset when I decided to go on Instagram and share with you guys. I was like, I'm literally gonna give away my grants that I apply for every year. Like, this is dangerous. I know everybody's gonna start applying. Guess what happened? More foundations came. More came out of the woodworks. More were created because they got a grant. I worked with a woman. She got a grant. Anybody heard of the Nora Foundation? Okay, I worked with her. We fundraised for a big thing. She got it all. She was so inspired by the process. I'm not saying me, I'm saying her process of experiencing it, that she started her own foundation. That happens all the time. So tell people, share, let people experience it. I might be sitting with you next year saying, hey, how do I get you on my site? Because you start a foundation. I bet 80% of this room has thought about doing a foundation to fill a need. If you're going to start one, do one for stem cells and hyperbaric and all the things that aren't covered as easy. And tell me about it. But tell them thank you. Be like, oh my gosh, the Oracle Foundation totally got my kid this swallow therapy. Now his life has changed. Tell people about it so they can also be encouraged and just give. People want to know that where they give their money, it's helping actual people. There's a lot of nonprofits that are not good places to spend your money. These foundations, we know they actually are doing what they say they do, right? They're giving out. We know Team Luke is amazing. Yeah. How many people got this for free, got this trip for free? Like, that's the kind of organizations we want to support, the ones that nobody talks about, not the one that has the NFL wearing their jersey for the whole week. They don't need us, but these people do. Q&A? Any questions? Yeah. Oh, okay.
I have a question. My son is about 2 years out from an accident with a scooter. Mm-hmm. And it seems like in the beginning there was lots of things that were available, and it seems like as you get further out, it becomes fewer and fewer.
How old is he? Do you mean due to age or due to what?
Time since the accident.
Like you're saying, like fewer things that will help him?
That are available, grants and things.
How old is he?
He is 14 now.
There's lots of grants for him. Yeah, have you been on my database? Okay, there's lots of grants for him. Where it starts to shift is about 21. Okay. But guess what? These kids are growing and we are baddies. We are amazing. We are like Dr. Profek was, and I'm not just saying this to make you guys feel good. We are the game changers. We are changing medicine. We are changing treatments. Liquid Hope, I know it's not as good as blending your own. It's a lot better than, what's that junk? Sugary like stuff that has no value to it. It's in our hospital. Kids are prescribed that now because of my son. So like that's thousands and thousands of kids that lives have changed. So same thing with you. Like when your kid's older, there's going to be somebody that's gone ahead of you, 5 or 6 years ahead of you, and they said, I'm only giving to 18 to 35. I honestly have thought about that because I've met with so many families that have a 19-year-old that needs support or a 25-year-old, and they still want them to have access to things. We're going to be the ones that change that. And tell me, when you start your foundation or you hear about one, tell me. Go to the DM, say, hey, I'll announce you. I'll make you as famous as I have access to. I will let everybody know about it. There are though.
So when you're organizing all this, how do you organize, like, say you're doing a fundraiser plus grants, plus you have to have already maybe applied, but there's a waiting list to get in for, say, for therapy, or how do you
Know where to start?
how do you get it all organized to, like,
You build your toolbox. You do every step that I just told you one day at a time. You do not overwhelm yourself. That's what happens. We get, what do they call it? Something paralysis. What's the phrase? Yeah, it's like analysis paralysis, right? Like you're like, I don't know where to start.
that's what's happened.
So if you go to advocacyabby.com, I have 2 worksheets, and I have a book too. Like it's all free, but you can download a financial evaluation of where you should start and what's most important to you and your family, and then start there. But my recommendation is step 1, create your account. Step 2, build your toolbox, because you're going to be very overwhelmed when you go to apply and it asks you for all this stuff. But if you've gathered it, you're not going to be overwhelmed. You're going to drag and drop. Start with the first thing you think will help the most. That's where you start. And just come to my workshop. I'll help you figure it out. And you can take my information or leave it. I'm just giving you, yeah.
So I have 2 questions. One first for my son. That's my son Adonis.
Hi, Bubba.
I did a GoFundMe for him maybe 2 years ago for Dr. Harch, which we got money for hyperbarics. It went well. I was still doing the GoFundMe updates and on Facebook. And then shortly after, I created him a Facebook page just to like, hey, this is Adonis, this is diagnosis. You guys follow us for updates. I mean, I still post, but the page isn't growing, so it's like.
When you say page, you mean his page?
Yeah.
That's why I don't use, so when I do a support page, which, here's the thing with fundraising, guys, the 3 other areas, like the sporting events, the commercial yard sale stuff, and all those, you can do that as often as you want. I mean, it takes work, but you can do that as often as you want. What you can't do as often is crowdsource, because your community becomes fatigued. So what we do is we're really strategic when we do it. So I have done one every 2 to 3 years for larger amounts. And then in between, I supplement with grants. And so the way you do it matters. So when there's an event, like if your kids has an accident and then you go, everybody's going to give. That's an easy one, right? But then after explaining the why it matters, what it's doing, how it changes, putting all that into a page, and then using it more. People also don't know Support Now as much, so like it becomes your all-in-one page. And you can share your updates like a social blog post. That's how they present on your Facebook page, and it drives everybody back to the main site the whole time. It's really about how you get the word out initially. So that's where the direct ask from friends comes, family, cousins, sisters, neighbors, coworkers, colleagues, people that love him in his life, saying, hey, we're doing this. Because you got to remember, like if you have a $10,000 goal, it's only going to take 100 people given X amount. That's it. Like it don't take as much as we think. We can get really intimidated by numbers, but that can happen really fast. If you did one 6 months ago, I've had people do them successfully, and I've had people get some on 6 months. But if you haven't done one in 2 to 3 years, you're more likely to be successful. But it's the way you position it. The page is just the page. Like I wouldn't think, like if I did one, I have thousands of followers, right, on social, and my son does too on a private page. If you're ever curious, you're welcome to follow. It's not like it's literally just his page. It's Zachritz Family Prayer Group. It's on Facebook. It's from when his accident happened initially. That's not where I get most of my donations. Most of my donations come because my sister shares it on her page, my cousin shares it on her page, and they say something about it. Who's ever seen a GoFundMe posted and nobody commented? They just posted the link.
Yes.
And you don't click. You're just like, I don't know these people, right? But if my sister says, this is my brother-in-law's niece, we need help, we need support, let's bless this family, I'm going to say, wait, I know Tommy, or I remember him at Thanksgiving. I'm going to click, look at it, read it. If I read it, the more views you get on a page, the faster you are likely to have success. So everything I say is very strategic on the way we launch the page. Even if you've never done one before, which puts you at even higher rate of success, launching it right does matter. You can't just throw it out there. Yes, you're welcome.
Did you have another question? Yeah. But you can go. No, you go ahead. I'll go after. Okay. So the second part when you said when people create a foundation. So I created a foundation based off my experience with my son. So it's catered to the parents of medically complex kids, just bringing awareness to us because yes, our kids go through stuff. And I mean, I'm not know about y'all, but I'm going through it too.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. I can't bring awareness to that page either because they're like, oh, that's Donna's mom, and it goes back to him. So like,
I'm not an expert in nonprofits. Like, I mean, I'm an expert in getting grants from them, but I'm not for nonprofits. So that's a whole different ballgame. That takes a team. I would talk to Rhonda from Team Luke because she's running one right now. And she can tell you, or Chelsea, or any of them, because they'll tell you how to they'll want your resource to be out there too. It's just about networking and getting people to share, but that takes time and strategy and and give yourself some grace. Your nonprofit might pick up in 10 years from now, as long as you're just maintaining. It might be like 10 years from now when you have more bandwidth. By the way, my son's 13. I started Advocacy Abbey 2 years ago. His accident was 18 months. I was not doing this 7 years post-injury. I was trying to keep my head above water, breathing, okay? So give yourself grace. I'm learning. I was sitting there taking notes, like writing everything down. I'm still learning, still doing this, but I also have my husband's helping a ton. I have an amazing mother-in-law. I have 4 children that are able to help a lot. Like, I'm almost 12 years post-injury. So it's a different. I'm in a different stage, and so like I can do this, but I couldn't do it when I had a little one. Like I was not. I was just trying to get to a conference or do something. You're doing exactly what you should be doing. So yeah. Yes.
I came in late, and so you've mentioned going to your workshop.
Uh-huh.
Tell me what that is.
Yeah. So it'll be more hands-on. So you guys have all heard this. I'm not going to be reteaching this. I'm going to be saying, okay, who's ready to do what? Where are you at? Let's get it done. I'm going to pull up the grant database. I'm going to have, for anybody that's building their page, we're going to start it together. Like some of you could walk away launching your page. Others, you're going to walk away with, here's the 7 grants I know I'm going to apply for. Yeah, I don't know what room, but it's in the folder. Yeah.
And then I have one other
Bring your laptops or computers if you have one. Phones, bring your phone. I have mine, so I'll help you on mine if you don't. But
Have you noticed any grants? My dog looks like she's normal, but
yeah, no, there's lots of grants. They're not going to, cerebral palsy, for example. Nonverbal is nonverbal. Dysphagia is dysphagia. Like if you can prove there's a diagnosis, or I have some people that have a rare diagnosis that's undiagnosed, right? I work with those people all the time. They're finding there's actually grants for undiagnosed. Okay, there's a whole category in my platform. Not a ton. There's not like thousands of foundations popping up, but there's situational diagnosis. Impairment is part of that, and so if you're not sure what to write diagnosis-wise, you can put the word diagnosis in there, and it'll open up to everything. You're just gonna have to do a lot of sorting because it's a main category. But yeah, there are grants. Yes.
Do you feel my daughter's accident was 4 years ago? It's like, and I have a Facebook page, but I'm on there and like in brain injury groups just with myself.
Yeah.
I'm not good on social media.
That's okay.
Looking at it all day, of course, but like not doing anything because you feel like it's too long after to. I mean, I update people and share the story and talk about it all the time, but it's like it's just
to your people. Well, that's how you fundraise. It is to your people.
Right.
It's not. I mean, yes, you get acquaintances and stuff, but that's because your people shared.
But you don't feel like if it's like so late after that you're kind of bringing.
I just did one too. My son's 12 years post-injury, and like 3 years ago was our last big one, but it was $70,000. Right? So it was a big fundraiser. Didn't happen overnight, but we got there. It was for a wheelchair accessible van for a family of 7, but I have a nurse with me at all times, so 8. Right? So that's not even a regular van. We had to get a transit. So no, I think doing it sporadically is important. If you haven't, we can still walk through that, so don't be intimidated by that. But doing it clearly and the why and exactly what's happening is important. If you make a foundation and go, everything's really, a foundation. If you make a fundraiser and you say, I'm broke, everything's expensive, my kid has a diagnosis, no one's going to give to it. If you say, This is exactly what's going on. This is our goal. This is what we're achieving. People are more likely to give. And that's where I come in to help. That's my expertise. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah.
Mine isn't a question, but it's just an encouragement of you saying, like, people don't know the need unless you express it. Something that the website didn't highlight is I've had people offer their hotel points.
Yeah.
And to be like, oh, you're going for an intensive?
Yep.
I can't donate money towards your intensive, but I'm willing to donate my hotel points to help cover the cost of your, to help cover some of the days. So by being open about the cost and what's going on, you can find people,
That's a great point.
Like, oh, I'm an elite member with Marriott. Let me put you up for a couple.
Yeah, that's a great point. So here's the thing. I've had lots of families. It looks like they didn't reach their goal. They 100% reached their goal because their aunt came through. This happened to us. Great uncle came through with a $20,000 check. All right. I've had people not know who gave the check. They call the facility and say, I'm going to go ahead and pay for this. I saw this. And it was all because they created a Support Now page. Had they not stepped out in faith, I had a lady adopted a child with CP from Ukraine. They're both working family. They're like, we feel bad. We don't want to ask, but we can't afford it. What do we do? Do a page. Stepped out. It was a $60,000 goal. Within 24 hours, somebody called and said, I'm going to buy the van for you, or the car for you, because there's just one kid. We're going to buy that. So all they had to do is pay for the modification, which they had already raised. We can reflect that, and this is unique to us. We can reflect that on Support Now. I have a lady that calls me every day and is like, I got another $3,000 check. And our team just reflects it. She wants it reflected. I have other people that said, hey, we got this from this organization. They asked us not to reflect it, but we wanted to let you know. It happens all the time. Putting yourself out there is part of it. But it's the way you do it, right? If you do it in a healthy way that you're like, hey, and by the way, you're not doing this for yourself. This is for your kid, right? We can all be humble enough to say, my kid needs something, and nothing's going to stand in the way of that. And I'm a contributing member of society, okay? I help other people. I give. Everybody, you might say, well, my community is working class, and I don't know. Some of the best donations I've ever seen were from people that had very little, but they had a way, and they did it. And I mean, like, the families are crying, like, how did she do this? I know what she lives on. I know how she lives. They did it because they wanted to do it, right? Same thing, like, I give, you guys give, I'm sure you give $20, $50, that adds up for people. So that's a really great point. You had a question?
No, just adding out there, you said stepping out of faith, but going along with what parents are saying is social media. I'm no expert in social media either, but one thing throughout the whole process, so our son, a year ago, that was his accident, September 5th, 2024. But the whole time, even though we're not posting, I myself, my wife is like, we're recording, we're taking pictures, and now we're to the point where we're a little stronger.
Yeah. Mentally,
physically, spiritually, to the point where now we can start sharing.
Yeah.
And now we're starting to see a little more interaction, and not necessarily asking for money, but the donations are coming in.
Yeah.
And this is not necessarily asking for anything.
Well, you also know, like, you guys have all been in this position. Something happens to a friend or a family member, you don't know what's okay. So if somebody doesn't say, it's okay to talk to me, it's okay to give, it's okay, you just kind of be like, I don't want to offend, so I'm going to stay back. What a Support Now page does is allows it to be okay. And you don't have to just do money. You could just do updates. You could have everything turned off, by the way. But it allows people to know what's okay. It's okay for you to ask to come mow my lawn because, thank you, Lord, I need somebody to mow my lawn. You know, you can write those kind of things out and tell people what's okay. It'll actually even ask you, are you accepting phone calls? Are you accepting text messages? Stuff like that. You can go if you need to go. Yeah, but thank you guys for coming. I think I'm way over my time, so I'm sorry. Come to the workshop if you want to get to it. I'll be there. So.